Hey everyone, Donald from Otaku Podcast here with, no, not another scouting video. This time it's an actual news and information video. This week we got some interesting news from the data miners. It looks like we'll be having our 5th Aqua event next week. Yes, the Yohane Ruby token event featuring Guilty Knight Guilty Kiss finally hits EN. But more important than that, it looks like we'll be getting an app update as well. According to the data miners, the servers will be down from maintenance this coming Tuesday, February 14th at 1:30 a.m. UTC, and this maintenance will require an app update. And most likely, this is the app update that JP server got several months ago. Now, since I know not everyone here keeps up to date on news coming out of JP like I do, I thought I'd put together this quick video to explain the changes that are coming as part of this update. Because, although this may seem like a minor app update, it's certainly not a major update like going from version 3 to version 4, it still has some changes in it that change gameplay mechanics in a fairly significant way. There's not going to be a whole lot of live video here. This will mostly be screenshots, but I don't really need live video to explain these changes. Also, the screenshots are from the JP version of the app, obviously, because I don't have access to a time machine yet, so I can't show you the English version. Of course, when the app update arrives, the screens you will see will be in English, duh, but they should look pretty similar to the screens from JP that I'm about to show you. All the buttons will be in the same place, etc., and so on. So, let's start with a biggie, song multipliers. You can now choose to play songs with a 2x, 3x, or 4x multiplier. This will multiply the amount of LP it costs to play the song, but you will get an equally multiplied rewards payout when you clear it. This includes reward box points, EXP, and G. The only things that aren't multiplied are end-of-live rewards, the N and R cards you get when you're completing a song, bond points, and song clears. So you can't unfortunately use this feature to quickly S-clear a song. Play it 120 times to get the clear gem. Still, this is a really welcome change, and will definitely affect gameplay for many players. Here's how. For one thing, this will make the time between events much easier to deal with. Normally, I don't play between events. That's my chance to take a break from the game and get some rest, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But it always kind of bugs me, all that wasted LP. And so sometimes I feel compelled to play anyways, just so I can drain my LP and get EXP to level up faster. But it always feels really tedious, like a total chore. Well, now you can play using the 4x multiplier and use up all of your LP with only 1 or 2 song plays a day. You'll use up all your LP, get the same amount of EXP as if you had played the songs individually, and get the daily gem while you're at it. Easy peasy. But where you're really going to see the benefit of multipliers is in token events, for 2 reasons. First is when you play normal songs to collect tokens. Well, if you play with a multiplier, it also multiplies the number of tokens you collect. So if you play an EX song with a 4x multiplier, you can potentially collect up to 108 tokens for each song play. The catch is that you won't actually see 108 token notes appear on screen. You'll only see the usual 27. The game takes the number of tokens you actually collected and multiplies it by the multiplier you used. Which means that if you miss a token, you're actually missing 4 tokens, so be careful. But the real game changer happens when it comes time to use all of those tokens you've been collecting to play the event song, because the multiplier is available on the event song as well. Instead of multiplying the amount of LP it costs to play the song, because event songs take 0 LP, it multiplies the number of tokens it costs to play the song. So if you play the event song at EX difficulty, you can multiply it from 1 to 4x, which will cost you 75, 150, 225, or 300 tokens. And just like with normal songs, you get an equivalently multiplied rewards payout, reward box points, EXP, G, and event points. Unfortunately, I don't have a screenshot of this, you'll have to take my word for it. This means that there's now no longer a special separate 4x version of the event song that comes out several days before the event ends. Because we now have the multiplier, you can basically play at 4x right from the beginning of the event. Yes, now it'll be possible to SR rush a token event in around 40 minutes. Even better, you can SR rush for the idolized card in around 2 hours. Miraizura. And unlike the old separate 4x event song version, playing with the multiplier will also give you a multiplied amount of EXP, something that the old 4x song didn't give you. So now, playing the event song at 4x will no longer slow down your rank ups. Yay! Now you're probably thinking to yourself, surely this is going to affect tiering and cutoffs in token events. And you would be correct. Make no mistake, token events are going to be more competitive going forward, and token event cutoffs are going to look more like cutoffs for other event types. So far, of the 2 token events on JP with the multiplier, T1 has hovered around 90k, T2 around 42k, and T3 around 20k. The good news is that, in general, it seems that only the players going for T1 or top scores are making liberal use of the 4x feature. People who are just settling for T2 and T3 seem content to use this feature sparingly, if at all. So, if you're planning on going for T2 or T3, this probably won't affect you that much. You shouldn't have to do too much additional gemming in order to keep up. But if you're planning on T1 or going for a top spot on the leaderboards, better get your gem stash ready. By the way, there are 2 quick things to note about this feature. First, you can't use the LP multiplier that's past your maximum base LP, even if you have enough overflow LP to cover it. And second, there is one small but unfortunate and annoying bug with this feature. The setting will reset itself after every song you play. So you'll have to go in and reselect the multiplier you want to use every time after you play a song. Keep that in mind when you're doing those long grinding sessions where you want to spend all your tokens by spamming the event song at 4x multiplier. Now, let's get to the other big new change in events, and that's score tiers. There's now a second set of rewards that are given out in events based on your song score. And these are very lucrative indeed. Stickers! Tier 1 gets you SSR stickers, SR and R stickers, while Tiers 2 through 4 get SR and R stickers. Now, token events have already had a score tier for the score you get when playing the event song, but the rewards for those are being changed. The things you used to get in token event score tiers, the event end cards and scouting tickets or love gems, are now given out as part of the event point tier rewards. And score tiers are being added for all other event types: Medley Festival, Challenge Festival, and Score Match. The way score tier values are calculated is different for each of the event types. Token events are probably the simplest. It's based on the highest score that you manage to get when playing the event song. Of course, this favors players who can play EX, since you get higher scores in general when playing EX songs, because they have more notes. With Challenge Festival, your single highest scoring round is counted. Again, this favors EX players, but specifically those who can stick it out through a full 5-round challenge, since the songs you typically get in round 5, the harder EXs as well as the dailies, tend to have higher note counts and thus higher scores. And as for Medley Festival, your highest scoring medley is counted for score tiers, which means that people who can play certain 3EX medleys are favored. I say certain because ideally you'd want a medley that consists of high note count songs. Fortunately, there's a way that might help you achieve this. More on that in a minute. This means that team building for Challenge Festival and Medley Festival is now quite a bit different than it was. It is now no longer sufficient to just S-score and be done with it. If you want to rise up in the score tiers, you've got to be able to score high. Basically, you want to use the same kind of hyper-optimized teams you use on token event songs and in score matches. Now more than ever, you should make sure that your teams are as good as they can be. Fortunately, the queen of SIF tutorial videos, ERYNCERISE'S, is here to help. Her 4.0 team building guide video is finally complete, and it is the must-see resource for anyone who wants to make sure that their teams are at their rubesti. And fortunately, in Medley Festivals, the game has a new feature that can help you get the highest possible scores. You can now re-roll the song choices you get. It won't choose a new attribute, so you're stuck with whatever attribute you get, smile, pure, or cool, but you can tell the game to randomly choose you a new set of songs. Of course, this can be used if you want to try and only play your favorite songs, or to avoid any songs that you really suck at, and so on. But the real benefit, and the way it could help you rise up in the score tiers, is that you can re-roll in hopes of getting a combo of songs with higher note counts. Because higher note counts means higher score. For this reason, I'll be including the note counts of songs in all of my song lists posts going forward. And I'll point out the combination of songs with the highest note count for each attribute during Medley Festivals. But you're definitely going to want to use this feature sparingly, Don't go hog wild with it, because you can only reroll song choices up to 10 times per medley, and it's going to cost you 50,000 G every time you do it. There's another new feature in Medley Festival that you might find helpful too. A new boost that guarantees that you'll receive a friend boost before every song. So you could potentially get some decent and useful boosts, including tap score boost to help you edge up into the score tier you want, or additional bronze, silver, or gold rewards, or an event point boost, or G boost. You get the idea. It costs 50,000 G, so unless you're drowning in gold and or are that desperate to get as many boosts as you possibly can, I would use this feature sparingly, if at all. By the way, they've also changed the way friend boosts work in medleys. You can now only get up to one of each type of boost during any given medley, so you can't, for example, get multiple stamina recovery boosts before all 3 songs, for example. So we've talked about how score tiers will work in Token Events, Challenge Festival, and Medley Festival. That just leaves Score Match. Yep, Score Match is getting a score tier as well. But this one works quite a bit differently than the others. Rather than taking your highest score, they apparently decided instead to take the algorithm they use to match up people, tweak it a bit, and use it as the points value for the new score tiers in Score Match. Now, when you're in a Score Match lobby, you'll see a new number in teeny tiny print below your rank. This is basically your current ranking in the score tiers. As you play matches, you'll gain points here, or lose them, sometimes by a lot. And supposedly, this number is also used to decide who to match you up against. Needless to say, this new system is rather controversial, plus we're still not 100% sure of exactly how it works. Suffice it to say that if you're going after high score tiers in Score Match, your journey will be a difficult one. Check the links in the video description for some notes put together by some Redditors on how the system may work and how to best deal with it, as well as quite a few rather lively discussions on its merits and flaws. One final note about Score Match: dodging, the trick where you can skip songs without losing LP by force quitting the app before leaving the lobby screen, well, it's now officially dead. Now, LP will be taken immediately when you press the start button. You can still force quit the app, but you've already lost that LP. Plus, dodging may negatively affect your rankings in the score tiers. Again, we're still not 100% sure how the new scoring system works. Whew! And there you have it. What may seem like a minor update, but which in fact turns out to have some rather significant effects on gameplay. There are a few more nice touches that this app update brings that don't directly affect gameplay. I'll go through those fairly quickly. First, speaking of score tiers, when you're viewing the score tiers, you'll see a new button next to the top 10 scorers. Tapping this button will show you their high score, and on this screen, you can also tap a button that will show you their winning team formation, including School Idol skill configuration. Now you too can marvel at the awe-inspiring, competition-crushing might of the true mega whales at the top. And speaking of being voyeuristic, when you're viewing a person's profile screen, you can now switch between their main girls. By default, it shows you the leader of their main team, but tapping this button will show you the girl that they have set as their home screen girl. You can also tap this button to see the girl's card. And speaking of main girls, the favorites screen has a new feature as well. Normally, you just see the person's cards with the 3 highest fave point scores. But if you tap this button, you'll see the members that have the 3 highest combined fave points out of all of their respective cards combined. Also, you can now skip through some of the animations in the song rewards screen by tapping. So if you're sick and tired of waiting for that whole animated sequence of getting your song points, seeing your song score in combo, getting reward box points, and opening the reward box, you can now skip pretty quickly through them. Just start tapping your screen like a madman as soon as the song ends. The Auto Team Builder and Auto Practicer also got a lot smarter with this update. In the Auto Team Builder, if you don't have enough cards of the attribute you have selected, it'll fill the rest of the team with off-color members that have the highest stats in that attribute. You can also choose to prioritize Perfect Lock skill when building a team. Also, the team leader will be selected in order of highest rarity. meaning that, for example, if you have a mixed team with SRs, SSRs, and URs, even if you have an SSR with a higher stat in the attribute, the UR will still be selected for the team leader instead. The Auto Practicer now has a checkbox to include or exclude members whose side stories you haven't yet read. In other words, cards that you haven't yet max bonded. This defaults to off, which means that the Auto Practicer will now no longer feed that event N card you just got but forgot to lock, or the new N you finally just scouted after blowing through all of your friend points. Yay! You can also tell the Auto Practicer that it's okay to feed off-colored cards, so if you really want to get rid of all of your cards and you don't have an on-attribute card to feed them to, now you can. You can also tell the Auto Practicer not to pick max-leveled cards. And both the practice and selling screens will now show you what stickers you'll get from practicing or selling those cards, if any. And if you're still practicing cards the old-fashioned way, manually picking them, the EXP indicator at the bottom left of the screen will now turn red if you're overfeeding a card. In other words, feeding it more EXP than is necessary to get it to max. The new update also makes it a lot easier to manage those pesky school idle skills. First, on any screen that shows your team, you'll now see a little pink dot underneath their icon if that card has a skill token equipped, so it's easy to pick out cards that don't yet have skills on them. And the Team Details screen now has a second line of numbers telling you the effects that any skills that affect the whole team give you, such as Aura and Veil. And in the School Idle Skills screen, you can now sort the skills by how many of them that you have equipped. And there's a new Details button. Select a skill, tap Details, and you'll see every card that has that skill equipped on it. You can then tap on a card to view it and manage its skills. And in the member list, you can now choose to sort the member list based on the number of skills that a card has equipped. Next, I need to talk about a major change to hit the scouting screen. You can now choose whether to use tickets or gems when scouting. Before, if you had any tickets on your account, either the red 10+1 tickets you get from the monthly packs or green scouting tickets, they would block the gem scouting button. You had to use those tickets up first before you could start gem scouting. Well, no longer. Now, if you have tickets on your account, you'll still see buttons for doing solo YOLOs or 10+1s. However, when you tap them, if you have tickets, it'll ask you whether you want to use the tickets first or if you want to use gems. Unfortunately, this means that you can now gem scout even if you have tickets on hand. Some people purposefully kept green tickets on their account so that the gem scouting buttons were blocked and weren't available to them, so that they weren't tempted to do gem scouts or on solo YOLOs or 10+1s if they were trying to save. Sadly, this trick will no longer work. There's also some changes to the way limited scouting boxes work. The special scouting boxes that show up during events that feature a set of cards from a certain time period, or cards of the girls in a certain subunit, or year group, or attribute-only boxes. Now, these boxes will have certain cards that have an increased availability rate, just like in the main box when a new set comes out. These rate ups change daily, so for example, you could have a Lily White box where on one day, the Umi, Rin, and Nozomi cards from the White Day set are on special increased rate, and on the next day, the Constellation set Umi, Nozomi, and Rin cards is on rate up. This makes it much easier to scout for specific cards, and there's less risk of getting cards that you don't want. You're definitely going to want to keep some gems or gift cards handy, just in case a box comes up that has a card that you really want on a rate up. And finally, there's some new stuff going on in the sticker shop as well. Now, you'll be able to purchase up to 4 Skill Up SRs every month using pink stickers. Each Skill Up SR costs 15 pink stickers, and you can buy up to 2 each of the Yoko Sato and Hiroko Yamada Skill Up SRs. These cards are all identical. They'll all work on either Muse or Aqua cards of any attribute, and each will give you 100 skill EXP points. Which means that it only requires one of them to bring an SR from skill level 1 to skill level 2, or 3 of them to bring a UR from skill level 1 to skill level 2. And since pink stickers are now pretty easy to come by, both from reward boxes, scouting, and score tiers, That means it'll be pretty easy to give your cards a nice skill boost on a regular basis. And that is it. Whew, this video turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it would be, but this update, which seems minor on the surface, actually turns out to be a pretty big one, some would even say game-changing. If you have any questions or comments, or if you caught me in a blatant error and want to correct me, please put it in the comments section below, and I or one of the other fine viewers watching this will answer you. Be sure and check the video description for links to all the websites and guides that I mentioned. If you're planning on tearing in the Yohane Ruby event, good luck and Ganba Ruby! Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time, sayonara, jane.